Funny old Friday. Let's make a start. So we're going to start lying down today. We'll start with a breath-based meditation. So I'll stay seated just for the first few moments. Let me just mute everybody again. There we go. Let's make sure everyone's muted so we don't have any interference. That's it. Lovely. So if you want to have a little bit of movement first, either stretching out or making a little circle around the lower back with your knees hugged in towards your chest, feel free to do that. And then just bring yourself to a really comfortable position. Make yourself as comfortable as you can. And tonight that might mean stretching your legs out, or if your lower back feels a little tight, if you've been sitting down a lot today and you want to keep your feet on the floor, maybe walk them a little wider apart and have your knees knocked together. We know the drill, don't we? Whatever really feels comfortable for you. There's no right or wrong. And I went to have my acupuncture and my kind of massage this week. I realised it was the first time anyone other than my husband has touched me since March. It felt most peculiar, even with needles. And I've got a very tight left shoulder, and my therapist keeps saying to me, "What are you doing? You're not left-handed. What are you doing that's creating this knot in your shoulder?" And I wish I knew. I really do. And I found this wonderful quote. It's a wonderful quote by Warren Buffett, of all people. And it's really, really beautiful. And maybe you'll recognize something of yourself in this quote. And he said, "Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." And I thought that's all of us perhaps might be feeling little pockets of tension, maybe if we have regular massages or we see a physio and we've not been able to do so. All those all kind of niggly areas of the body might be tensing up even more. And so really using the practice tonight, and indeed kind of every practice that we have, to have that time of inner exploration, so we can really pick up, especially when we slow down, we can pick up on maybe those habitual movements, which in themselves are no bad thing, but because we keep repeating them time and time again, those parts of our body might get overused or overstretched, or conversely very tight. So using the practice today to really tune in and notice if you've got any of that going on in your body. But to start with, we'll just start with a little moment to focus on the breath. So just take a moment now to bring your awareness to that natural flow of breath. Just feeling the breath as it travels in through the nose. Just watching and feeling your chest and your belly as they expand and open with the inhale. And feeling the body softening back inwards with your exhale. So as you continue just to let the breath settle, especially if you've had a really busy day or busy week, sometimes we come to the practice, we feel maybe a little bit frazzled. So just the next few rounds of breath, just simply noticing now the speed of your breath, the depth of your breath. Maybe becoming a little bit more aware of where the breath goes to in your body. Might be you can feel it more in your chest, perhaps in your belly, maybe in another part of the body, maybe around your shoulders. Just observe just for a few rounds of breath. And the breath is a great barometer of where we are, how we're feeling. And then if it's comfortable to do so, just ever so slightly begin to elongate your out breath, just your out breath. You might even want to gently part the lips and make a little bit of sound. There's no one there to hear you, so if you just want to sigh the breath out, that can sometimes feel quite nice, again, if you've had a particularly stressful or busy day. That sense of just letting go, releasing as you elongate that out breath. And then again, if it feels comfortable, you can maybe combine that with a slightly deeper and longer inhalation. So you're beginning to draw out each component of your breath. A slightly deeper and fuller inhalation, followed by a slightly longer and slower exhalation. So beginning to send messages to your body and to your brain to soften, to let go of the weak. And you might have already noticed as you exhale, the body might begin to feel a little bit more relaxed. Try to relax your legs, your arms. And just sense the grounding of every part of your body that's resting on the floor. Just surrendering to gravity, just feeling really heavy there. And then just allow your breath to return to a natural and even rhythm. That might be slightly longer and deeper now after that little practice. There's no need to manipulate the breath, just let it flow. And then come with me as you take your awareness to your forehead. And just find a smoothing sensation, releasing any signs of thought or concentration. Creating space between your eyebrows. Softening your eyebrows. Softening your temples. Softening your eyelids, your cheeks, down through the side of the jaw and the chin. Soften your lips. You might just, even if your lips are touching, just gently part your teeth. And that can bring that sense of softening into your mouth. Let the tongue rest. And for some of us, that might mean resting at the bottom of your mouth. For others, that might mean just gently bringing the tip of your tongue just behind your top front teeth. The whole face now feeling soft and spacious. As you come back to your breath, noticing if your breath has changed, maybe feeling a little bit more calm and settled. You might start to notice little pauses, natural pauses at the end of each inhale and exhale. These moments of stillness, moments of nothing. And just linger in those gaps. Noticing anywhere in your body where you might be holding on to tension now. And use your out breath to send that feeling of softening to that part of your body. There's nothing to do, nowhere else do you need to be except on your mat, watching your breath. So really staying with that sense of breath, using the breath again to tune into where you might be holding onto those pockets of tension in the body as you gently just bring the arms down alongside you with the palms up if you had them resting on your chest or your belly. Just start a little wiggle through the fingers, really softly. And then make a soft fist, curling the fingers in down towards the palm, and then spread the fingers nice and wide. Do that a couple of times so we begin to enliven the body from the outer edges inward. Opening and closing the hands, and then keeping the palms open the next time. Just start to circle the wrists. Try to keep the fingers moving. Let's take a few circles each way. And then if your legs are outstretched, join us by bending your knees and bringing your feet in towards the hips. You can take them wide apart and knock your knees together. It's going to begin to bring a little bit of movement into the upper body. So the arms rest down alongside you with the palms down, lengthening your fingertips down towards your heels so you find you've got a nice long neck. So 5 times as you inhale, let's bring the arms all the way back above the head, remembering you can take them out to a nice wide V, softening the rib cage. And as you exhale, slowly bring the hands all the way back down, lengthening fingertips towards heels. So we'll do that 4 more times. If you just want to work with the breath tonight, if you don't want to move the arms at all, then that's absolutely fine. Or if you want to do a couple and then rest, make it yours. But if you are moving, try and make each movement as long and as slow as the breath will permit. So I'm finishing my 3rd one now. I'm going to do 2 more, but if you're moving ahead of me or behind me, it really doesn't matter. If you're moving faster, you can always throw in an extra one. Nice stretch. I'm on my last one now, but feel free just to rest with the arms down alongside you if you were a little bit ahead of me. We'll all meet there. Arms down alongside you. And this time, as you inhale, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, reach the right arm back behind you and the left arm down alongside you, getting a nice lateral stretch across the chest. Inhaling, both arms reach up towards the ceiling. And then changing arms, left arm back, right arm down alongside you. It's like you're doing a breaststroke. So just working with the breath now. Each inhale brings the arms back up to center. And then we reach the arms in opposite directions. You might start to energize the arms there. So imagine just reaching in opposite direction with the hands. So you're getting a nice stretch across the chest. I can really feel it, that arm going back behind me. Getting a nice stretch underneath the armpit, lengthening the arm back. And at the same time, drawing the other shoulder down and away from my ear. So this next time, I'm going to do 1 more, taking the right arm back. And then 1 more, taking the left arm back. Again, you travel at your own pace. And the next time that you come all the way back up to center with that left arm, pause. Then bring both arms down alongside you again, palms down towards the floor. But this time, just wiggle your feet a little closer in towards you and towards each other. So we end up with the feet and the knees hip width apart. So again, moving slowly, we'll come into a little bridge flow, beginning to warm up through the back of the body. So as you inhale, begin to lift the hips from the floor, pressing down into the big toe, keeping the knees forward. So maybe just lift the hips up a little way on the first couple, and then exhale, ripple the spine down. So each time you inhale and lift the hips, get the feeling of just coming up a little bit further up the back, never coming higher than between your shoulder blades. So the neck is always free. And just checking in that you're pressing evenly through the feet and not rolling to the outside edge of the feet or the inside edge of the foot. So the knees stay forwards. Let's do that twice more. So pressing down through the feet, little push of the hips up towards the ceiling, lovely. And then slowly lower. So we'll make this the last one, keeping moving with the breath. Inhaling, hips push up, nice long line through the front of the body. Just squeeze the bottom. And that controlled release all the way down. Beautiful. This time as you inhale, reach both arms up towards the ceiling. But as you exhale, let's bring them out shoulder height now. Take a little peek across each arm. I tend to bring my arms up a little higher there, so I'm just going to check that they are indeed level with the shoulders, palms up towards the ceiling. Walk the feet towards the outside edge of your mat, whatever width feels comfortable for your hips, and we'll start a little gentle twist. So inhale, the knees point up to the ceiling, and as you exhale, roll the knees over to the right, coming onto the inside and outside edge of each foot. Lovely. Inhale, bring the knees back to the center. And exhale, we'll roll the knees over to the left. So as you continue just to rock gently with your breath, you might start to pick up the head and drop the chin down towards the opposite shoulder. So opposite direction to the way the knees are going. But if that's not nice for the neck today, just work on the legs. You can keep the arms level with the shoulders. You can lower them if that feels uncomfortable. Or I really like to bring the arms back above the head, resting one hand on top of the other. I've made almost a diamond shape with the arms. And again, I just feel that really stretches just underneath my armpit there. So taking that movement a little bit higher up. And if I begin to push that top hip in the same direction as my knees, again, I increase that even more. So just have a little play with, again, what feels comfortable. If you're pushing your hips, you might find that opposite shoulder blade lifts off the floor a little bit, but I wouldn't worry too much. It's just really nice just to loosen up through the back. Let's do one more rocking of the knees over to the right. So it's nice and rhythmic. We're not jarring the body with any sudden movements. We're really soothing the body with quiet, gentle movements this evening. So the next time you come back to center from the left, we'll pause with the knees pointed up towards the ceiling. If your arms are above the head like me, let's bring the arms down alongside you. So you can gather your knees in towards your chest, crossing the ankles and allowing the knees to widen there. Now start to draw a circle around the lower back. So using the hands to guide the knees round. Nice massage. If we can't see our massage therapist just yet, we'll have to rely on a little bit of self-massage there. So really nice release for the back and the buttocks. Just change direction. You might want to change the hook of your ankles as well, just to make sure you're balancing things out. Oh, lovely. Let's do one more circle. And then we'll bring the feet back down to the floor. Notice where you've got space to roll into, either the right side or the left side. If you're going to roll onto your right side, reach the right arm back behind you. And the left arm if you're rolling onto your left side. So when you roll over, you can just allow your head to be supported on the underneath arm. Just bring your knees up towards your chest. So you're in a kind of fetal position there. Just transitioning slowly. So take a breath or two there. And then using that top hand just to come down to the floor in front of you so you can push your way up and over onto all fours. And my knee is a little bit sore today, so I'm just going to pad my knee up. And if your knee isn't feeling so great today, you can always pop a little fold in your mat or blanket or a pillow underneath it. So hands under shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Let's start to, again, continue to move with the breath, starting to work in the front and the back of the body. So as you inhale, let's dip the belly, pull the tailbone up behind you, allow the chest to come forward. The chin to lift just a little bit, but try not to over shorten the back of the neck. And then the angry cat as you round, tailbone tucks under. You might want to close the eyes as you continue with that. One, it really does help you kind of come into your body so you can really notice what's going on in your body. And secondly, you know, we're spending a lot of time, I think, more time than ever, looking at screens, and it's really bad for our eyes to be constantly focused like that. They need to rest. So we're resting our eyes, closing the eyes. And you can either continue with that cat-cow, that little arching and rounding in the back, or you might want to make it a little bit more intuitive, maybe widening the knees. And we start to draw a little circle or even a figure of 8, sending the hips forwards and back, so shifting the weight. So doing again, just a few movements, whatever feels intuitive. I'm just going to add a little circle there because my hips feel a little tight today. If you're circling like me, just make sure that you've changed direction again. So if you're doing that little circle, just take the hips around the opposite way there. So again, there's no right or wrong. It's again getting into those little passports of tension, those little pockets that we might be carrying today. And then we'll all meet back on all fours. And if you've widened your knees like I had to circle them, just bring them back underneath your hips. Taking the gaze forwards, just reach the right leg back behind you, coming onto the ball of the foot, making sure that that right hip hasn't opened. Push the heel away from you, push into your hands. A little bit of firming up through the belly. Just get a nice stretch through the back of the leg there. Just gently pressing the back of the knee up towards the ceiling. And then roll over the foot as you bring both knees back underneath the hips. Other side, so sliding the left leg back, coming onto the ball of the foot. So it's a really nice stretch out for the foot as well. So really pushing that heel away from you, making sure again that both your hips are pointing down and you've not dropped your gaze. And then roll over the foot, both knees back under hips. Do that once more each way. So slide the right leg back, heel pushes away. If you want to rock, then make sure it's a nice slow movement. It's not some ballistic bounce, which isn't very good for the joints at all. And then again, we roll over the foot, bringing both knees down. Last time, taking the left leg back. Heel pushes away from you, making sure the crown of the head is reaching forwards. Again, if you want to rock, just do it very gently. It's going to pop you on mute. Someone's just joined us, not on mute, lovely. And then we'll all just come back onto fours, hands under shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Lovely. So widening your knees ever so slightly. Take a child pose for a moment. Option always to pop a blanket or a pillow between your bottom and your heels. Sliding the arms forwards if that's comfortable. Or tonight, I'm going to bend my elbows out to the side and make a little platform for my head, resting my forehead down on my hands there. If you've got your arms outstretched, you might want to lift up through the elbows. So you're just pressing the finger pads down into the floor. You can always just rest the elbows down, or like me, if you want that more restful stretch for the upper back with the elbows wide. And we'll just take a moment there to breathe into the back of the body. So when we were lying on our backs, we were really feeling that breath in our chest and our belly, whereas actually our lungs are quite back in our body. So really nice just to reverse that movement. So we give the back of the body a chance to open and expand there. Just a couple more breaths. Again, if you've got your elbows wide, you can feel that nice spreading between the shoulder blades. Lovely. If you're supporting your forehead, just reach your arms forwards for a moment. Elongate through the arms and then walking the hands back towards your knees. So you're sitting on your heels, point both knees forwards. I'm going to come and face you as you come up into standing kneeling position. So if that's really uncomfortable, feel free to adopt a seated position and just come into a nice twist with the arms. Beautiful. So if you're with me, I'm going to tuck my toes under. Gently push my hips forward, so hips are stacked above my knees. We'll take the arms up towards the ceiling there. Lovely. So just that right arm. Inhale as you reach up. And as you exhale, circle that right arm all the way back and down. And as you inhale, sweep the arm forwards and up. You might follow the movement of the arm with your gaze. So other side, left arm reaches all the way back and down as you exhale, and then inhale up to center. So do one more each side. So there's a little bit of movement through the hips, but feel that more around the shoulder. Try to keep the hips more or less square towards me there. Beautiful. So this time as you inhale, let's swim both arms back behind you. You can either just interlace the hands behind you, roll the shoulders back and down, and elongate through the chest. Or hands just come onto your lower back there and get the sense of lengthening up through the belly. So it's not even got to be a back bend. You might just lengthen up through the belly and lift the chin ever so slightly. Or if you want to come into a deeper back bend, we can begin to lift. So think about length through the front body, all the way up the navel, all the way up to the very top of the throat. I'm not going to throw my head back. Squeeze the elbows towards one another, support the low back there. Just going to come around to face you again. Lovely. Then very gently, just allow everything to come all the way back to center. We're going to take the right foot out to the side. So you might want to, for stability, bring your fingertips down to the floor and step your right foot out to the right, almost as if you were coming into a warrior two with that foot facing forwards. And then we'll lift ourselves up, just making sure that that knee is squeezed out towards the little toe. Left arm lifts up as you inhale. Let's come into a nice side stretch as you exhale. So forearm to thigh, reaching that top arm overhead. And you might even use the elbow or the forearm to gently press that right knee out to the right. And you might want to roll your gaze up towards the ceiling. So get that nice sense of stretch all the way through the left side of the body. And a little bit of openness through that right hip. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Beautiful. And then slowly let's come all the way back up. Again, for stability, I'm just going to bring my fingertips down to the floor so I can bring that right knee back underneath the hip, and then I'll change sides. Left foot turning out to the side this time. So it's like a little warrior two. Climbing on up. Again, just making sure that your knee is angled out towards your little toe. So this time, right arm lifts up as you inhale. Nice side stretch over to the left as you exhale. Again, you can use the back of the hand or forearm or the elbow to gently press that left knee out towards the little toe. And maybe turn your gaze up. If that's comfortable for the next, we've got a lovely sense of stretch and opening. Beautiful. Lovely. And then slowly, slowly, we'll come back through center again. I'm going to bring my fingertips down so I can bring both knees back down and coming down onto all fours. Just walk your hands slightly forwards and wider apart than the shoulders. Getting ready for a downward dog. If you want to stay on all fours tonight, stay on all fours and just do a little cat-cow. If you're joining me, tuck the toes under and begin to push the hips up towards the ceiling. When you get there, start those little movements through the feet, bending of one knee and then the other. Take it nice and slow again, nothing jerky or sudden with the movements. Let the head go, maybe a little shake of the head, no, and then a nod of the head, yes. Lovely, and then just allow the head to settle so your ears are alongside your arms there. And then as you inhale, rise up onto the balls of the feet. And as you exhale, allow the heels to sink down toward the floor, doesn't matter if they touch. Inhaling, lifting, lifting, lifting up onto the balls of the feet. Exhale as you lower. Inhaling as you lift. This time as you exhale, bend the right knee and press the left heel down. Inhaling through center. Exhaling, changing sides. Inhaling, lifting both heels. This time, last time, exhale, sink the heels down and just pause in that downward dog. You press down through all four corners of that contact there, so hands and feet. The lift of your tailbone. So you can wiggle your hips up and back, getting that nice sense of length through the sides of the body. And then rolling the gaze forwards between your hands, just start to walk your way forwards. Stepping your feet slowly to the hands, to your feet behind your wrists, bend your knees generously. And if you want to cradle your elbows and have a little sway, if that feels nice, or if that's not for you tonight, if you want to just make sure that your head is kept higher than your heart, if you're prone to getting dizzy, you can just rest your forearms on your thighs there so your head is lifted. Whatever works for you. If you're moving the body gently, just make that again slower and slower until you can come back to center. Release the elbows, slide the hands up, your shins, maybe onto your knees, straightening the legs. Again, energize the crown of the head forward, your tailbone back behind you, so you're coming into a nice flat back. A little bit of hollowing out through the belly there. Lovely, lovely. Drawing the shoulder blades down away from the ears, take an inhale. And as you exhale, soften the knees as you come all the way down into that forward fold. And again, sliding the hands up the legs, maybe onto the knees or even the thighs, coming into that flat back as you inhale. And exhale, softening the knees, rolling all the way down. Crown of the head towards the floor. Last time, inhaling. Little inward rotation of your inner thighs, spreading the low back. Exhale, fold down. And now really bending your knees, allow the arms to hang in front of you. Take your time to roll your way up. If you know you get dizzy, really take your time and avoid lifting your arms until you've come all the way up to stand. I've decapitated myself. Let me just move my camera a little bit. Beautiful. And then when we get into that nice, strong standing position. Just take a moment to notice in that mountain if you're tilting your pelvis forwards or back. So we don't want the lower back to be too arched, or nor do we want, if we've spent a lot of time over a computer today, to be kind of slouched forward. So again, get the sense of lengthening through the belly and lengthening the tailbone down. So it's not an exaggerated move, it's just a sense of creating space in the body. Lovely. The soft knees, a little softness in the knees. Let's do 3 big shoulder rolls, gathering the shoulders forwards and up, and then rolling them back and down. So the shoulders roll forwards and up. And again, this is when I can really notice that one of my shoulders, again, is tighter than the other. It's that left one. I don't know what I do. So it's these little movements that bring us into our bodies. Lovely. And then shrug the shoulders all the way up towards the ears. And then let them slide down the back. Lovely. So shoulders up towards the ears. And then feel the shoulder blades slide down the back. One more. Lovely. Sliding all the way down the back. Beautiful. And then keeping that lovely soft position with the shoulders. We'll start a gentle twist. Now, I'm going to bring my elbows in towards my waist there and start a little, almost like a little robot. So again, the hips stay roughly forward, a little softness in the knees. So this is far more controlled for your back. So if you've got any back issues, you might just want to stay here. If you want to make it a little freer, just start to release the arms. So one arm swings in front, the other behind, and there's a little bit of movement through the hips and the knees. So remember, keeping the elbows in towards the waist is a little bit more controlled for you tonight. Just let the arms swing, letting go of tension through the hands. And then gradually, let's make that movement a little bit smaller, a little bit slower. Until finally, you come to stillness. Finding again that lovely mountain pose, length through the belly, space in the low back. As you inhale, reach the arms all the way out and up, or forwards and up. And as you exhale into that forward fold, arms in front or out to the side. Finding that halfway lift as you inhale, fingertips to floor or your shins. And as you exhale, plant the hands and step back onto all fours. Lowering one knee and then the other. And then from all fours, ease your way back down onto your heels with a child pose, this time with the arms out in front and coming up onto your finger pads. Little rolling flow. So as you inhale, come up into cat pose. And as you exhale and lower the body down towards the mat, think about stretching your hips towards your hands. Lowering, lowering, lowering down. Let the head hang as you push into the floor, coming up into a little swan-necked cobra. And then coming all the way back into a child pose. We'll do that twice more. So come up with a rounded back. And as you again stretch your hips towards your hands, you ripple the body forwards and the gaze forwards and down. Let the head hang as you push into the floor, back onto fours. And exhaling hips to heels. So last time, a little bit of flow before we work some more to stretch things out through the lower body. Stretching and lowering down, 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 down. And then last time, pushing all the way up. Let the head really hang there. Coming back onto child pose. And then from child pose, find your way back onto all fours. And making sure that you've got space to the right hand side of you and behind you. You're going to come into a little cat's tail. So right leg comes back behind you, just as we did before, ball of foot to floor. And then sweep that right foot all the way out to the right. Try to keep both arms straight. So you bring the right foot as close towards that right hand as you can. And then we take it all the way back behind you and then take it to the opposite side. So you stretch over to the left and look over that left shoulder. So big toe just sweeps along the floor all the way out to the side, keeping that left arm straight. And then all the way back round. So you're drawing a big arc with the leg, looking over the left shoulder. Lovely. Let's do that twice more. So if you are bending your left elbow, just make that movement a little bit smaller. We'll all be very different in the hips. So last time, a little sweep. Try not to push the hips too far over to the left as you bring that leg out to the right. All the way back, lovely. So this time we'll bring that foot all the way out to the right. And then you might have to do a little toe heel to bring that right foot to the outside of your right hand there. Right foot to outside of right hand, lovely. You might want to pick up your back knee and gently just place it back behind the hip, flattening the foot. So you can drop your weight forwards now, feeling a nice stretch in the left hip. Left hand to floor. And let's take the right arm up. So we're turning towards that knee, reaching the arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe looking up. And that arm that's extended up, that right arm, maybe you can begin to reach it back. So you're taking a little lean back. So we're increasing that stretch out through the chest. And then we'll bring both hands to the inside of that front foot. But this time, gluing your elbow against, or your knee against your upper arm. So really press the two together as you take your left arm up this time. So woo, a little bit of tricky on the balance there. And you should feel maybe a stretch into the top of that left hip. It's maybe not as generous a move with the arm. And then slowly, slowly bring both hands back down inside of that front foot. Now we'll take the hips back into our hamstring stretch, but that right leg is more on a diagonal. So it's more on a diagonal shape. You might need to walk your hands a little further back behind you. Again, I'm just going to move the camera down a little bit now. I'm on the floor so you can see me. So that right leg is a little bit more out on the diagonal. So you're getting onto the inner part of the hamstrings there. Beautiful. And then plant the foot. And take that right leg all the way out to the side, back where it came in that little swishing cat's tail. And then bring both knees underneath the hips, changing sides. So again, just make sure you've got space behind you and out to the left this time. So left leg comes all the way back behind you, ball of foot to floor. Keep the gaze forwards as you sweep the leg out to the left, trying to keep the right arm straight this time. It might not come as far. This is again when we notice those little idiosyncrasies in the body. One side might feel a little bit tighter than the other, then it comes all the way back and over to the right, looking over the right shoulder. So a little sweep, it's called a cat's tail. So swishing that foot towards the left hand and then all the way back and over the right. Lovely. A couple more times. Again, trying to keep the hips relatively still. They're going to move a little bit. So you might need to make that movement a little bit smaller if you find that your hips are really swaying from side to side. So last full movement. Foot towards hand, and then all the way back behind you. And then this time we'll bring that left foot towards left hand, and then we take that little toe heel, so you can bring the foot to the outside of the hand. I'm just going to tuck that right knee back a little bit, so there's a little bit of space for me to shift the weight forwards, dropping the right hip toward the floor this time. And we turn towards the left knee. So left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Nice stretch up. And you might just want to keep your joints or slats, your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder directly in a line up towards the ceiling. Or we take that little lean back. So you're reaching the arm back behind you, only if that feels good on the shoulder. So you're feeling a deeper stretch across the chest there. Beautiful. And then slowly, slowly we'll bring both hands to the inside of the front foot. You might have to walk that left foot in a little bit so you can squeeze your knee against your upper arm. Keep them glued together as we take a twist to the right. So a little bit of balance required. You might not move quite so freely as you take the right arm up. Lovely. And then bring both hands down inside of the front foot. And this is when we begin to shift the hips back. So you might need to move the hands back a little way. So that left leg is a little bit more out on a diagonal now. So I'm feeling it more in the inner part of my hamstring. Hamstring's part made up of three components of that muscle. We're getting more in the innermost one there. Beautiful. Slowly, slowly flatten the foot. And coming back the way we came, that little cat's tail, left leg sweeps all the way out to the side. And then coming back onto all fours. Ready for a little twist from all fours. Just the right arm lifting. Inhale, take the arm up, our little thread needle. Exhale, bend that supporting elbow so you reach the right arm through. Lovely. With the breath, inhale, reaching up. And exhale, reaching the fingertips as far away from you as you can. Just once more, inhale. And we'll settle that arm down this next time. So sliding the hand away from you so you can come down onto your shoulder. Just on the temple there. So take a moment to get comfortable. Maybe move that left hand a little further away from the face. And just shift the body weight toward the right a little bit. So you're stretching out through the shoulder. So I've got my right arm spread underneath me there. If you're feeling stable and balanced, you might want to slide the left leg back behind you and keep the ball of the foot on the floor if you wish, pushing the heel away from you. Or a little bit more balance required, firm up through the belly and lift the left leg. So the right arm is threaded under and it's the left leg, opposite leg. I'd be amazed if anyone could lift the right leg. Please don't try. And don't laugh when you're in this one either, which you will. Slowly, slowly bring that foot down. Slide both knees back underneath the hips. Push into that left hand. Take the right arm all the way up towards the ceiling. And bring both hands down under shoulders. Let's try other side. Left arm lifting as you inhale. Feeding the arm through. So the hand just hovers as you reach as far away from you as you can. And then pushing the floor away, turning the chest as you inhale. And stretching, stretching, stretching underneath. Lovely. Once more, inhale. So ready to hold. If you don't want to hold and you want to carry on moving with the breath, feel free, or join me. Sliding the back of the hand on the floor this time, so you can just come almost above your temple. I'm going to bring that right hand a little bit further forwards for stability. You might just want to shift your body weight into that left shoulder. So my left arm is underneath me, so it's the right leg. If you wish, you can slide straight back behind you, coming onto the ball of the foot, or firm up through the belly and lift that right leg so you've got your toes pointed towards the floor, if that feels okay. And then lift the other leg. No, I'm joking. Levitations for next week. Bring the foot down and then sliding both knees back under the hips. Push into that right hand. Take the left arm up as you inhale. And as you exhale, back onto fours. Walk the hands back towards your knees, just so you can sit momentarily on your heels and then drop the bottom to one side and pop the legs out in front of your alternative face. Lovely. So bringing your right heel in towards your groin there. So we've just got the left leg stretched out. I'm just going to draw that left hip back a little bit so I'm square towards that leg. Maybe pop a little bend in the knee, reaching up as you inhale. And as you exhale, reach forwards and down. And just allow the hands to drop wherever it's comfortable. It might be either side of the thigh, the shin, or towards the ankle. Make sure that that right knee is comfortable. You can pop something underneath it. If it's too much with your heel in towards your groin, you can just bring the foot a little lower down towards your shin, or even take that foot out to the side and just have the knee pointed up towards the ceiling there. So wherever you are, see if you can square the chest up over that extended leg. You can by all means keep a softness in the knee. And let's just once more just begin to calm the breath, soothe the breath. Forward folds said to help get the body ready for rest. So if you're ever kind of struggling to sleep, anything that involves a forward fold or like a child's pose before you got into bed, almost send again those messages that you're kind of slowing down there. Just a couple more breaths there. And And when you're ready, slowly, slowly walking the hands back towards you so you can lift the chest. Pop a little bend in that left knee so you can slide the right foot a little bit further underneath. Holding on beneath that left thigh, you might want to lean back as you just bring that heel in towards you. And then lift up nice and tall through the chest, and we'll try and extend that left leg. So the leg might be bent. You might be able to straighten the leg, but make sure you're holding on the fleshy part of the thigh and not around the back of the knee. Lovely, try and sit up nice and tall. If that's too much, then just keep the leg extended on the floor in front of you. Lovely. If you feel that you've rocked back, try and shift the weight forwards. My foot looks enormous there, pressing it towards you, that big foot. And then slowly, slowly lower the leg. So we're going to repeat that hamstring stretch, a little version of heron pose, either holding underneath the thigh, or if hamstrings feel okay, just clasp the foot. You might need to lean back as you bring the knee towards your chest. And we try and straighten the leg. So you might not straighten the leg, you might just bring your shin parallel to the floor, because you need to shift your weight forward so you're sitting right on top of your sit bones. And you might be able to extend the leg, drop the shoulders, and lift up through the chest. So if that's too much, hold on underneath the thigh, or bend the knee. Lovely, nice stretch, stretch, stretch out through that left leg. Nice and proud through the chest. And then slowly, slowly bend the knee. I'm going to cradle that left foot with your right hand, and left hand holds the knee. And just very gently rock that left shin. It's like you're rocking a little baby. So keep it nice and gentle. Just loose knot through the hip. And this is a warm up. I remember being in a yoga class. This is actually a warm up to bringing that foot behind your head. We won't do that today. I was in a yoga class. They said, just bring that leg behind your head. I thought she was joking. And then I saw people doing it and I wanted to run away. We won't do that today. Instead, we'll release that foot, lean into that right buttock so you can bring that left shin behind you. If that's not for you, just extend both legs out in front of you. Right hand comes to the floor and sweep that left arm in front of the face. You might want to stay there or push the hips forwards and take the gaze towards that right hand. So we've just loosened up through the hip a little bit. You can do this all with the legs extended and just come into a nice side stretch with the left arm reaching overhead. And then allow that left arm to sweep in front of your face, lowering the hips. And we'll take a little twist to the left, one hand in front, other hand behind. Again, you can do this all with the legs extended if the knee doesn't like that position. Lovely, come all the way back through center. And just stretch the legs out in front of you, taking care with that left knee, giving it a little shake. And then we'll change sides. So this time it's the left heel that comes in towards your right groin. If you don't want to do that, you want to keep the sole of the foot lower, or keep that foot out to the side. The choice is yours. So I'm going to draw that right hip back ever so slightly, squaring myself up. Lengthen the waist as you inhale. Try and keep that length as you extend, extend, extend before you come down. So I'd like to take a moment there just to kind of settle everything, relaxing that left knee. So you might need to change the position of the foot. And again, when we do these asymmetrical poses, we can really notice the asymmetry in the body. One side might feel tighter than the other. So always making allowances for that. We're not butterflies. We're never going to feel the same or be able to do the same, or rarely. The same movement on both sides, left and right. So feel free to walk the hands a little bit further towards you if this side feels tighter, or conversely, extend the body down a little further. Easing your way there with softness, never using force. Couple more breaths. And then once more, slowly, slowly walking the hands back in towards you. So this time we pop a bend in that right knee, so you can slide that left foot a little further underneath. holding on underneath your right thigh. I'm going to lean back so I can slide the heel in towards me. And then sitting up nice and tall through the chest. You might just want to stay there, getting that lovely elongation through the front of the body. Or we begin to extend the leg out in front of you. So again, you're holding on that big meaty part of the thigh, not behind the knee, which doesn't feel very comfortable on the tendons. If you want to keep the leg on the floor, feel free to. Lovely, and then lowering the leg. So we'll repeat that again. So option 2, keep the hands exactly as they are, or just reach forwards to clasp the foot. Lean back to bring the knee with you, and then sit forwards on the sit bones, lift the chest, and you might just be able to bring that shin parallel to the floor. Turn on sideways. So the temptation is that we end up sort of there, and what we're trying to do is lengthen through the back. So that's not going to feel very nice at all. It is a stretch, but it's kind of where we spend most of our day perhaps if we're sitting at a computer, and what we're trying to do is counter all of that by stretching out through the back and stretching out through the hamstring. Beautiful. Let me turn myself around. Lovely. And then slowly, slowly we'll bring that heel down. So this time we cradle the right knee with the right hand, left hand holds the right foot, and you just very gently rock that shin. So right hand on the knee, left hand on the foot. So it's like you're rocking little baby. So we're just easing some movement into the hip joint there. And then we throw that ankle behind our head. No, we don't. Only in scary yoga classes do they do that. We won't do that tonight. Maybe at the end of lockdown. So if you're comfortable with it, we'll then lean into that left side so you can tuck the right shin behind you. If you want to extend both legs in front of you and just take a nice side stretch, reaching the right arm overhead, feel free. So pushing into that left hand, we'll sweep the right arm across the face. You might keep the hips down, or you might push the hips up and gaze towards that back hand. So you're looking down towards the left hand. Lovely, nice stretch out through the front of the body into the hip. And then that right hand sweeps in front of the face as you lower the hips. And we take a little twist to the right. One hand in front, the other hand behind you. Lovely. And then slowly, slowly release. Bring the hands behind you so you can stretch out the legs, give them a shape. Just making sure you're in the middle of your mat. Bring your heels in towards your bottom as you roll your way down. You can use your hands to help you. If you want to give your knees a squeeze and have a little massage out through the back, feel free to, and then bring your feet down to the floor, hip width apart, heels quite close towards your bottom there. So we're going to come up into that little bridge, last pose, pushing the hips up. Lovely, little squeeze again of your bottom. And you might just want to stay there with the hands alongside you. We'll see if you can physically tuck one shoulder and then the other underneath you so you can interlace your hands. I'm just going to walk my feet a little further apart there. They're a little bit too close together there for comfort, so feel free to adjust. Get that nice opening through the chest. So it's a lifting of your chest towards your chin and a pushing up of the hips without rolling to the outside of your feet there. Let's take a couple of breaths there. The breath is a little bit uncomfortable, so if it doesn't feel nice, feel free to bring your arms out alongside you and slowly lower. Lovely. One more breath. And then release the hands down alongside you. If you wish, lift up onto the balls of the feet and then keep the heels lifted as you roll the body all the way down. And when you get there, straighten out one leg and then the other. And then reach the arms back and have a delicious full body stretch. Oh, finding that space. Oh, that feels better. And then slowly allowing the arms to come down alongside you, either with the palms up towards the ceiling, a little bit of space between your arms and your body, or you can rest the hands on the chest or the belly. And allow your toes to roll out, or as we did at the beginning, if that's not nice, walk your heels back in towards you, widening your feet so you can bring your knees to knock together. Making any adjustments you need. Get a pillow or a cushion if you like. And find that position of comfort and ease for the body there. Grounding yourself now. Connected with your breath. Hopefully feeling now a little bit more connected with your body. Most of us spend most of our time being quite disembodied. And yoga is a great one to help us with that sense of connection. Just sharpening that inner ear so we can really listen to what the body is trying to tell us. Settling into that sense of connection. Staying present at the end of your practice. And maybe throughout the practice, you too will have noticed, as I did, those chains of habit, where perhaps they're manifesting in your body. Maybe one shoulder felt a little bit tighter or higher than the other. Maybe one hip felt less free. Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. And through our regular practice, we can hopefully break those chains, or at least be more mindful of them before those habits really do cause discomfort and pain and dis-ease within the body. Giving yourself a few moments of stillness and quietness. No one demanding anything of you, other than to linger in this safe space with your breath. Space where you can release, letting go, not just of physical tension, but maybe any repetitive thoughts. So you can allow the mind just to have a moment too, and they will be just momentary. Momentary pockets of stillness, away from all of the busyness that that week just gone might have meant. And if you want to remain lying down and just finish the practice whenever you feel ready, feel free to always do that. There's no compulsion to end the practice with us and say goodbye. You can always just stay lying there, just enjoying a few moments longer in Shavasana. If you are ready to move, again, start with the outer edges of the body with your hands and your feet. A bit of gentle movement there. Maybe a little rock of the head from side to side. And if you want to enjoy that full body stretch, feel free to really release into the space behind you and in front of you. Breathing into the space above you. Then when you're ready, the arms come down, the heels come in towards you, and then bring your knees in towards your chest. And again, it's that intuitive movement. Some of you want to move, you might want to circle your knees. Some of you just want to linger in stillness. If you want to stretch out through the back seam of the body, you might bring your knees to meet your nose, lifting your head and your shoulders. So you're getting a stretch in the back of the neck, feel free. And if you're doing that, we'll all just lower the head, bring the feet down to the floor, and again, just being mindful of which side you're going to roll onto. If it's the right side, extending your right arm. If it's your left side, extending your left arm back behind you. So you can roll onto that arm, making a little pillow, and just bring your knees up towards your chest. Let's take a breath or two in that little fetal position again. And then using that spare hand to push the floor away and find a seated position that's comfortable for you to finish the practice. Legs crossed or extended, whatever feels nice. That sense of balance. Lovely. Just bring your fingertips down to the floor, and you can just gently push the floor away, seeing if you can just wriggle a little bit more length through the sides of the body. And try and keep that length now as you reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Take a nice breath in as you bring your palms together. And as you exhale and draw the hands down towards your heart, just wishing one another a peaceful and restful weekend ahead. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen.